Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Nevaldo Show. Today, we are going to be talking about the transfers of January. So, not just any old transfer. Today, I am going to be joined with my good friend, Non-League YT. Would you like to say hello?
Hello there.
How are you?
I am okay, thank you. How are you?
I am very good.
Good,
So,
good.
I think we should just get straight
Let's
into it. What are
go.
you saying? Well, the first thing I want to say is, who do you think has been the best transfer of January?
I think that it is a bit of an obscure one. I would go with Paul George Ntep signing for Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. Now, I don't know what the fee was, but he's an absolutely outstanding player for anyone in that sort of level. Like Wolfsburg, they're in sort of mid-table in the Bundesliga, so to get a player like him, like on FIFA, he is like overpowered on career mode. So
Yeah.
for him to get to Wolfsburg, I think he could have gone like a lot higher. So I think it's really clever that they've managed to get him in.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. But you see, I've kind of gone with a similar kind of signing where I would personally have said Robert Snodgrass to West Ham
Ooh,
from Hull for 10 million. Now, I think that because he has been tearing up the Premier League and he has been carrying Hull on his back despite Hull not doing that
he has
great.
indeed.
Haven't got any great players really, and they've just been torn apart by most teams except for United. So it's quite an interesting one there.
It
But
is, yeah. Like I think that Snodgrass is it's sort of been viewed as a bit of a negative signing by West Ham fans because like obviously they've seen Snodgrass as a replacement for Payet because they're both like
oh
wingers
yeah, yeah,
that
he's
like
not though. Nowhere
no.
near. They were
It,
signing Snodgrass even if they kept Payet.
yeah, like I think he's sort of a player that they've bought on the cheap. Like their initial bid that they put in for him was like 3 million, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
they rejected it, and then they bid like 4 million, and then they bid like 6 million. Then Burnley came in with 10, so then West Ham bid like 10.3 or something. It's like West Ham just do transfers on the cheap, and this is their sort of signing, I think. But it's a good signing.
well, Robert Snodgrass, he's shown his class in the Premier League. It's not like they've gone for a Championship player like they were looking at Hogan, who's now gone to Villa. They
Yeah,
they were actually going for somebody proven in the Premier League. He's been doing it week in, week out. It's not a case of form. It is a case of him being class.
yeah. Like talking of Hogan, do you know that Harry has actually offered a contract to Hogan in 2013, but he wanted to stay in the Northwest with Ashton United. Look where he is
Surprise,
now.
surprise, you bringing Harry as in, eh?
Yeah, I know. I just taken that opportunity. I saw the opportunity and went for it. I couldn't
Like a
resist.
panther, like a panther.
Right.
Well, we can move on to the next topic anyway. Well, enough about Hogan. That's not who we were talking about. We'll go on to the China spending, which is a very, very controversial topic in
It
the world
is.
of football today. Now, the highlight I've got was actually Oscar going to the Chinese league for £60 million.
It's
He's not
it's
getting.
ridiculous, isn't it?
He's not even get. He wasn't even getting a game for Chelsea, and he's worth 60 million all of a sudden.
Oh, it doesn't make any
It's,
sense.
it's mad.
It's like with Oscar, he is a player that wasn't obviously, as you said, wasn't playing. So I think the transfer fee could have been so much lower. Like obviously the wages are always going to be higher because that's what comes with the Chinese league, high wages. But the actual transfer fee could have been so much lower. Like I get the sense that the Chinese clubs don't know how to negotiate. So like they'll go to Chelsea and say, "How much do you want for Oscar?" And then Chelsea will say, "Oh, I'll give us 60 million." And they'll be like, "Yeah, okay then."
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think they bought him for 19 million or something like that,
Exactly.
and they've made £41 million profit on Oscar, a guy that's not playing. It's an absolute joke for that.
It is.
I mean, it's not just for Oscar either. I mean, they've been tempting players like Witzel, like was it Teixeira or something that was going to
Yeah,
Liverpool. Like he's taken all of the big names away from football that could actually be something, and
exactly.
it's ruining their careers for the sense of getting a bit more money.
It's like Odion Igalo of Watford. He had an offer to go to China last year. They were going to pay something like 40 million, like the fee plus wages or something, last year. But this is when he was like doing really well. But now he's not doing very well. He's gone. like now, so they've essentially bought a player that they couldn't persuade when he was at the peak of his abilities, but now that he's flopped essentially and scored 2 goals this season, that's when he's prepared to go there. So he's essentially just when his form isn't going very well, he's just persuaded by money, which sort of suggests the sort of player that he is.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Well, what do you suggest that China could actually do, or other clubs could do, to stop these players from flocking away?
Well, I know that there's a rule in place now in China where you can only have 3 overseas player per team. So you can't have like a whole starting 11 of like amazing players. You can only have 3. That used to be 4 plus 1 other Asian players. So essentially, you could have 4 non-Chinese players in every squad, whereas now it's only 3. And that rule was brought in the last few weeks to sort of stop the spending. But there's not a lot that you can do in terms of spending because these clubs have got their own right to spend what they want on whoever they want. So that's what sort of makes it difficult.
Do you think eventually that maybe the players are going to see that and be like, well, there's actually 6 other country players, not Chinese players, over in this club. They're offering me 100,000 million. Oh, I don't even know what I'm talking about. They're offering me $1 million a week. I'm not going to go because I'm not going to get game time. Do you think that's going to ever happen?
Well, it could, yeah. I don't think that the Chinese league is really ever going to grow to what they think it is because obviously the MLS has done what the Chinese league was trying to do before, trying to grow the league overnight. Like the Premier League and La Liga and leagues like this have grown very slowly over a long period of time. The Chinese league is trying to grow it overnight, and I think that these Chinese billionaires owning these clubs will sort of just get bored eventually and then just give up. But the players, it's sort of like, what is their ambition with their career? Do they just want the money, or do they actually want success? And that's what sort of dictates what sort of players go to China.
So in a way, you were kind of saying it's getting rid of the footballers that are only in it for the money to actually get the ones that have dedication for their team and want to do well, get all the trophies and whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly how you could put it, yeah.
So it's actually a good thing having China come and take all these players.
You could see it as a positive, yeah, because the players that genuinely want to win Champions Leagues, etc., they're not going to go to China because the Asian leagues, like, it's just not anywhere near what it is in Europe.
Well, talking about money, I think we should go to some of the richest clubs in the world of Birmingham City and Kidderminster Harriers. So
completely 100% factual, that.
Do you want to outline Harriers' business? Because I don't really know anyone that Harriers have signed or sold.
We were very active in the January transfer window. We bought 2 players in on loan.
Oh, that is a lot.
Absolutely outstanding. I know. We let 1 player go out on loan, a right back called Jared Hodgkiss. He was our captain last year. He's been out the entirety of this season, apart from the first 3 games, injured. So we loaned him out to actually a team in the league above. We loaned him to Torquay. Very surprised by this. Shows how desperate they are for players when they're taking essentially an injured right back that hasn't played for 6 months in the league below. And then we signed a guy called Alex Palmer on loan from West Brom. The highlight of his time, he was with us on loan last year, and he actually saved 2 penalties in 1 match to get us a 1-1 draw away at Barrow. And interestingly, tomorrow we are playing away at Barrow, so hopefully he can pull back those heroics. And then the other player that we signed was a left back called Josh Eswelly, and he scored on his debut. He scored a pretty sick goal, but other than that, there's nothing that's really happened in January. I think the biggest bit of business that we've done is being able to keep hold of all of our best players because, like, they've all been so good this season. We're second in the league, and we've done really well to hold on to everyone. So
overall, out of 10, how would you rate the business done by Kiddy?
I would give it I would say like 7.5. I think that most of that is made up by keeping hold of our best players, but we haven't been able to get in a striker. That's the one position that we really needed, and we didn't get that.
So we talk about Blues a bit as well, obviously me being a Blues fan. And I've kind of touched on my opinions in the last episode, but I don't know if you know many of the Blues signings, if you know them or you want me to go through them.
Yeah, I think I know most of them.
So what do you think about Blues?
Well, I think that obviously for me the standout signing is Craig Gardner.
Easily.
because he's a hero with the club who the fans love, and that's gone a long way to sort of getting the fans back on board. Obviously, after sacking Rowett. So, yeah, what do you think?
Well, with Gardner, I don't actually believe that's a Zola signing. I do not think that is a
Yeah,
Zola
I
signing
agree.
whatsoever. That is done by Panu to get the fans on Zola's side and be like, well, he's bringing back these legends. We need him to be done. And what I'd actually say about our business, as you will, is that we've actually had the best window in the world. I honestly think that
Some statement to make.
it is a big statement, but if you look at who we've signed players like Kerim Fry for £2 million, and he's easily the next Alexis Sanchez. And
Oh, definitely.
we've signed Keita, who actually received a bid, to my knowledge, from Juventus, and we've beat clubs to that. I mean, I'm gutted that we didn't actually sign a clinical finisher. I mean, we have got Duke, but he's been missing golden opportunities recently, and we needed somebody. I mean, you could say Sinclair could be the man we got on loan on deadline day, but I just don't think he is. He's too young. He's not a proven goal scorer like a Jordan Rhodes that we could have had.
And what do you think of on deadline day? Am I right in saying that Cotterill and Viv Solomon Otterball were both loaned out?
They were.
And what do you think of them being
With
loaned out?
Cotterill, he's been slipping off for quite a while. His first season for us, he was amazing. Easily one of the best players on that pitch. He was scoring every free kick. He was delivering crosses, much like Chris Burke was for us when he left, which was a nice little replacement to have. Recently, though, in the past couple of times I've been up, you watch Cotterill and he does the same thing. He gets the ball, runs it up, loses it, or he will run it up, try and cross it in, which will find no one. He'll occasionally have a good cross or show he's still got it, but he wouldn't actually do anything for most of the game. He's quite a lazy player, really. And then with Viv, it's a good thing for him. Going out on loan, getting some game time under his belt, showing us what he can do. We all know that he's amazing. He scored on his debut coming off the bench.
So where's Viv gone?
He's gone to Bolton.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I do think Zola has made the right decisions there. But I've said that Blues have had the best transfer window. Who would you say has had the best transfer window?
Out of anyone,
Out of anyone.
I would personally say Wolfsburg, strangely.
Wolfsburg.
Because I was talking about how they've brought in Ntep. They've also bought Yunus Mali from Mainz, who is a very good player. They've also bought Richedley Bazor from Ajax.
Yeah, he's been on the radar for quite a while, I believe.
And I think there's another one that I think I'm forgetting, but I know they've lost Draxler, which is a big loss for them. But he wasn't doing much in the first half of the season, I know for that.
Well, he didn't want to stay there.
No, exactly.
It's the same with Fabrini at Blues. If they don't want to stay there, then you can't hold them. They're just going to be worse and worse and worse.
Exactly. And same with Payet as well. So,
but what about West Ham? I was talking about them with Snodgrass earlier. They've also signed Fonte for the back.
yeah.
Is that enough, though?
I don't think they need a centre-back because they've got Winston Reid and Angelo Ogbonna at centre-back who are both good enough. They are really lacking a right-back as far as I can tell, and a striker, it seems to be the general opinion.
Pretty sure Ogbonna can play a right-back, though, can't he?
I think he's left-footed.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was playing right wing-back for Juve occasionally, but
right.
it might be left wing-back.
Oh.
I don't know.
But anyway, I think Payet, do you think that it's good that he's gone?
Easily. For the fee, I don't think they got enough for him. 25 million is not enough, I don't think.
I don't think the fee really mattered in the end. I think it was just a case of he needed to go, and the fact that they got 25 million for him is a positive, because I think the loss that they potentially made, like they could have got like 40 million if they sold him last summer. I think that loss of 15 million is like, it would have cost them that much anyway.
So I think the way that Payet left West Ham was disgraceful. It is not a great way to go out of any club. saying that like refusing to play for them. To round the show off, we'll talk about the last straw poll that I put in the previous Nevaldo show, which was to remind you, should Zola be given more time? So, Luke, would you like to talk about what you think about that?
Well, I think the answer is definitely yes, he should be given more time. He's still sort of readjusting to English football. He has been away over in, was it in Qatar or somewhere like that? I
Yeah,
think.
Qatari's been at and
Yeah.
Italy.
So he's obviously been, specifically in Qatar, like it's a much less competitive league. So he's not used to the competitiveness of the championship. So he's sort of taken a little bit of time to get used to it, in my opinion, again. But, there's got to be a point where you got to cut it off and say, like, enough is enough. He's had enough chances, but is it like nine or 10 games now without a
It,
victory?
it's 10 in all competitions, 8
10.
in the league.
Yeah,
He's gone.
it's not great. It's really
But,
not great, is it?
but
But I
what would
think
you say? Like, how many games do you think he should be given before he gets his first win?
I think he's got to be given at least another 5 games. He must win in that amount of time. But
Yeah,
if
I'd
he
agree.
doesn't, then I think the board's got to be looking at replacing him.
Well, getting on to the results of the straw poll. Do you know the results? Have you looked or?
I haven't. No.
Well, you'd actually be quite surprised to see that it's 57% edging it said no, he shouldn't, with
Ooh, controversial.
43% saying yes. So they've gone completely against both of us and said no, he shouldn't be given more time. And I don't know if you can see that I would agree. Well, not agree, but I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you got a lot of Blues fans who are getting irritated. And I mean, the video that I uploaded did actually go up straight after the 2-0 defeat to Norwich, which kind of could have interfered a little bit.
Their opinion a bit.
I know I went to the game on Tuesday, and straight after it, I was so annoyed and I was raging about him and whatever. But giving yourself a little bit of time to kind of adjust to it and see what's going on, then you kind of accept it a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, have you enjoyed being a guest on the Nevaldo show?
Yeah, it's been very good actually. Very
And you'll
good.
be honoured to know that you're the first ever guest that we've had.
Oh, it's a great achievement.
It is a great
Be able to
achievement.
tell the grandkids in 60 years' time this. Brilliant.
Whack that on your CV.
Oh,
I'm
definitely,
telling you
yeah.
now. Just got to put it right there.
I mean, who wouldn't want to hire me being the first guest on the Nevaldo show?
Well, you never know if it becomes a big, big thing.
Exactly, yeah.
I think we'll be able to compete with like the One Show in recent years.
Yeah. We'll be like the next Mock the Week.
Except for we're less funny and less professional. So
Oh no,
everything
what are you talking about? We're
worse.
very professional.
Right, this is not the slightest bit professional. So we're talking about straw polls anyway. Would you like to put forward a question?
Yeah, why not? Let's go with who do you think is going to win the championship this year? Obviously, the main candidates are Brighton and Newcastle. It's sort of been changing hands as who's at the top, so it'll be interesting to see who actually wins the league. I think it will be one of those two, but then again, Reading, Leeds, or maybe even someone else. Possible, but unlikely.
I mean, Birmingham City are a big contender in that one as well.
Oh, 100%. I forgot about them. They're in their own league at
They're
the top.
the top ones. I'll whack those in the
Oh, yeah.
choices as well, just in case anyone wants to
Good.
vote for them. So I don't even know if it's physically possible, but it could be.
It might be mathematically possible, I think. Probably still is.
It could be. It could be. Well, that will be the question for next week, and we'll evaluate a little bit more now. So, in my opinion, I do think Newcastle will win it, but I've got that slight little part in my heart because my granddad's actually a Brighton fan, and a lot of my family on that side are from Brighton. So that part of me is wanting Brighton to win. So what are your thoughts on it?
I think it'll be Brighton that win it. They've been so consistent this season. Take Newcastle, they've lost both their games that they've played against Blackburn. They haven't got the consistency, in my opinion, that Brighton have.
They also have got a very, very big squad depth compared to the likes of Brighton.
They have.
Brighton don't have as many players.
True.
So if you get a few injuries here and there for Brighton, things could turn up a bit.
They're both out of the FA Cup though, so there's less
They are.
fixtures.
That's always a good thing to have when you're competing for the title.
Absolutely.
That's the end of today's episode of the Nevaldo Show. Thank you, Luke, for making a guest appearance.
Thank you for letting me on here.
It's been my pleasure. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss the next one. I've been Nevaldo.